Welcome to Oh Hell No with Nicole.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Oh Hell No podcast. Today we have Teenpreneurs. We have Hannah Lucus, Charlie Lucas, and Robin Lucas. Their mom is also with us, so we can ask her some questions as well. So welcome everyone. Thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for having us.
Yes, I'm so excited to talk to you about the app that you created called notOK app. But before we get into the app, I just want to ask you a little bit about yourselves and what your passions are, as it stands today. So the first question is, and I'll ask this to Hannah and then we'll move to Charlie. So how old are you guys? Hannah.
I'm 16.
Oh, wow.
And I'm 13.
You're what, Charlie? I'm sorry.
I am 13 years old.
Oh, okay. All righty. So, Hannah, what are your passions today? What do you enjoy doing? What makes you happy outside of school, work, and things like that?
Well, I love to play volleyball because, I'm a sportsy girl.
Okay.
And I really enjoy reading. I know that sounds kind of cheesy, but, I love it. I mean, I love being a part of my company because it makes me so happy to know that I'm helping other people.
That's awesome. So, Charlie, what are your passions right now at 13? What do you love to do?
Well, I love writing music, doing karate, and reading because I like books.
That's good. I love books too. There's nothing wrong with that. That's amazing. All right. So, I read that, and this question is to you, Hannah. I read that you had POTS, which was the catalyst for your invention. So can you tell us a little bit about what that is and how you were diagnosed and, what it stands for, what it means?
To start off, I have a condition called POT. It's postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. And basically that means if I stand up too quickly or sit up too quickly, the blood will drain from my head and pool in my legs, and it'll cause me to faint or pass out. And last year, before I knew what I had, the doctors tested me for basically everything. And finally, one night when I was in the emergency room, a nurse came up to me. She's like, "Hey, you might have POTS. You should check that out and research it." My mom's like, "Oh, okay." And the more we researched it, the more like, oh, dude, that sounds a lot like what I have. And it was kind of a self-diagnosis. But we went to the POT specialist, and he said, "Yeah, you have POT. Surprise!" And from there on out, I just had a hard time managing my symptoms because I was still new. I was still kind of a new potsy, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And so balancing a chronic illness and regular teenage life became way too much for me, and stress became a major trigger for my condition. So I was always stressed out. Being a regular teenager, school, everything, along with a chronic illness, that just made everything 10 times worse. I was always passing out, and overall, I missed about 200 class periods in my freshman year of high school.
Wow.
Yeah. And so one night, I just reached the lowest point, and I started self-harming, and my mom, she walked in, and she's like, "Why are you doing this?" And so she just held me, and in the midst of that chaos, I cried out. I wish there was an app where I could just open it up, press a button, and a couple of my friends will get a message saying, "Hey, Hannah isn't okay, come find her at my current GPS location." And it kind of stuck with me, so I told my brother about it, and he really helped with the technical aspect.
Wow. So, Charlie, when Hannah told you about this idea, what was your first thought? Were you really excited, or were you just like, "Girl, what are you talking about?"
Well, when Hannah told me about this, I'm just like, maybe I'll actually be able to help you and make you better. So I'm just like, why not?
Right. Wow. So did you have any interest in technology at that point?
I've always been interested in technology because my dad does programming and stuff. So by the time that Hannah told me this, I'm just like, yay, I finally get to do something.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, I sort of started wireframing the app, which is the prototype app. And then we showed it to our parents. And then there's like, wow, you're actually serious about this. And then we got developers.
Wow.
And I sort of worked alongside the developers to actually make sure that the app was what we wanted.
Mm-hmm. So when you guys told your parents, so Robin, this question is for you. When they came to you with this idea, were you immediately on board, or were you just more concerned of making sure that Hannah was okay with everything that she had just been diagnosed with and just balancing teenage life and now this illness?
Oh boy. Well, when the kids came to me, it was probably in the summer. And this is after they had already sort of told me the concept, and I'm like, oh yeah, sure, you guys can take some coding classes. And then Hannah said, well, Mom, there's a entrepreneurship class that my friend's taking at Georgia Tech. Can I take it? And I'm like, yeah, sure, you can take an entrepreneurship class. It's kind of appeasing them. And then, I guess what was the real catalyst was that the people over at the entrepreneurship class really rallied around Hannah and her idea, and they're the ones who actually contacted us, and they talked to us after Hannah had her final presentation, and they said, hey, they told me and my husband that Hannah had something really special, that we should really look into it. And then that's when the kids were like, yeah, by the way, this is everything that we put together. And then, Charles and I my husband and I, we just sort of kind of went with it. We're like, yeah, sure. I think this could help Hannah. This could help a lot of kids. And then, we helped them find a developer, and then the kids just sort of took it and ran with it.
Wow, that's amazing. It's really a cool app because it can work for anyone, not just kids, So the idea is just really, really good. So
yeah, I think people see that it was made by a teen, so they automatically assume it's for teens.
Mm-hmm.
But say I've used this app. This app could be just for anyone who's not okay, and I think that we're trying to, or the kids are trying to sort of make sure that people know that.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I've never heard of POTS. I called it POTS because it's in all caps. So I thought it was like an acronym or something. So when that...
Yeah, it's actually a dysautonomic condition. We've had to learn so much about it in the last year. And from my understanding, Solange, Beyonce's sister, was just diagnosed recently, I guess maybe 5 or 6 months ago, with a similar condition. So yeah, that's why she had to cancel her tour and everything. And she came out and had the press release that she has a dysautonomic condition. So Hannah felt kind of good about it. She was like, oh wow, Solange has it. So people are going to know more about it now.
Yeah.
People are going to actually care about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's something, it affects a lot of people, but it's often misdiagnosed.
Right. And then like you said, some people will have things and not really know what it is until someone else talks about it. And then, it starts a movement of some sort, So I'm sure.
Yeah. And we through talking to, other dysautonomic people and other POTSIs, that's what they're called.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Hannah were like, oh wow, it sounds like you were starting to be affected by this around 7th grade instead of 9th grade, like how we automatically assumed, because she used to have really bad migraines, and she just, it was really awful. So yeah, it's kind of a progressive thing, I guess. I don't know. We're still learning more about it.
Right.
But yeah, I'm glad that she's managing her symptoms, and she's not where she was last year. The headspace that she was in last year was really difficult.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. So now, is there a medication that she can take? Where is she today? Is she... okay to continue with activities and just, running a company? How are we doing all of that?
A lot of the women and men who are diagnosed with POTS typically take beta blockers for their heart and to sort of help with blood pressure and all that sort of thing. But with Hannah, I didn't feel comfortable with putting my teenage daughter on any serious medication like that. So we're doing a more conservative treatment. Basically, she has to drink about a gallon of water because the condition is essentially super low blood pressure, super low blood volume. Like, she doesn't have any blood in her body. And you know, when she stands up really rapidly, the blood pools, so that's why she faints.
Right.
So we have to increase her sodium. She has to eat like 3,000 milligrams of sodium or take sodium tablets. And she just has to exercise. She has to exercise like an hour a day just to get the blood going, and that sort of thing. So when she doesn't do what she needs to do, you know, as a 16-year-old girl, because she has a lot of other things going on, you know, school and volleyball and everything. So we end up taking her to go get IV hydration treatment just to get like a liter of saline solution in her bloodstream so we can just sort of, we call it topping her off, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's difficult to drink a gallon of water sometimes, especially when we're going 100 miles an hour.
Yes.
So we'll just go to a hydration center. Now that she's 16, she can actually go to a hydration center. Before, we used to have to go to the, you know, immediate care or something like that and say, hey, you know, she's a potsy kid. And they're like, what is that? And I'm like, oh my God, we got to get a referral. We have to get the doctor's prescription. It was just so complicated, but now we can just go to the IV clinic and just say, hey, you know, top her off, give her a liter. And then it takes 45 minutes to go through, and sometimes her veins don't accept it, and then it rejects the IV, and her arm swells really badly. And that's kind of a nightmare. But, you know, it's kind of a day-to-day thing. You know, we just go with the punches. You know, Hannah wakes up and I'm yelling at her, hey, drink your water. Let's go put your compression socks on. Get going. You got to go to school. You know, the nurse at her school pretty much has me on speed dial. You know, I just sort of roll in there and I'm like, hey, how's Hannah doing? Oh, she's good. I haven't seen her today. That's a great thing. You know, because last year I was at the school all the time, but she's doing a lot better. You know, as long as she stays drinking her water and stays hydrated and eats all the sodium that she has to and takes her salt tabs, then, you know, we're good. But when she's really busy doing interviews and working on her company with her and Charlie and doing all the marketing things, doing school, getting ready for midterms now, it's kind of difficult, you know?
Yeah. I am sure. I mean, just the gallon of water alone. I tried to drink a gallon of water and it took me like 3 days. I'm embarrassed, but it did. Just because you really should drink that much water.
Hydrate.
Yeah. So, you know, but that's great. I'm glad to hear that you're doing well, Hannah. So, what do you love the most about creating this app? And this is for Charlie and Hannah. So, Hannah, you can answer first, and then Charlie, you can chime in.
I loved creating this app because in the beginning it gave me hope, you know? And when I was in a really dark time in my life, I didn't have hope. And this is kind of the light at the end of the tunnel that we're nearing. And I'm really thrilled to see what it becomes, and I hope it can help an endless amount of people.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. What about you, Charlie?
Well, what I loved most about creating the app is that I get to help people who have mental illnesses and just help people, because at first it was just about helping Hannah and making her better, but now I see that I could actually like help a bunch of people and cut the suicide rates in half.
Yeah, that's definitely a positive thing. So do you guys know anyone personally in your age group that suffers from depression or, you know, any mental illness or things like that?
Yes, a lot of my friends. A lot of our friends suffer from depression. Some suffer from bipolar disorder, and I know a lot of kids in my classes in high school who suffer from major anxiety. Attacks and stuff.
Yeah.
And I told them about the app, and they said that it's been life-changing for them.
So when you guys got the app, you know, up and running and was going to do like your first beta test or whatever, who did you use, your peers, or did you use people that you didn't know?
We mainly used our peers.
Mm-hmm.
We did use some people that we didn't know. But we mainly used our peers because those are the people that we had the quickest access to.
Okay.
And, we even used ourselves.
Okay. So what is the hardest part of being the creators and the operator of the app? Just balancing it. Like, what would you say is the most difficult of your day-to-day when dealing specifically with your app?
Figuring out how to balance it with school life, I would say, is probably the hardest part with keeping this up. That and trying to explain to people why the app isn't free, I guess.
Oh, okay. All right. So now today, how are you balancing your activities and running a business? Like, do you have a schedule that you make for yourself where you set certain time aside to work on the business and do your homework and do your activities? Do you have any additional people that work with you besides your mom and your brother? How is this all being done today?
I usually work on my homework first, try to get that out of the way and done so that I do have more time to work on the business and to work on the company. But pretty much whenever we have time, we work on our company. We're always checking our emails, reaching out to people, looking for what next to do. I mean, when I really think about it, I don't think we ever stop working, which is a good thing because it gives me something to do.
Right.
But besides my brother and my mom, we've been working closely with our publicist on trying to get us on shows and stuff. Okay. And also we've been working with our investors because our investors are helping mentor us because me and my brother, we're only teenagers.
Right.
So they're working closely with us on how to handle and manage a business and make that business successful.
Awesome. All right, so let's talk about the app. So the app is called notOK app. It's a digital panic button to get immediate support from a trusted group or pre-selected people. This launched in January of 2018, and it's in the Apple Store, and I guess everywhere apps are sold. So iOS and Android versions are available as well. So tell everybody how the app works and how you set it up and how much it costs and all of those little details.
The app is basically a panic button that when pressed, it says, "Hey, I'm not okay with your GPS location." It sends this message to your pre-selected up to 5 closest contacts.
Yes. And I went in and I created an account for myself, and I think it's really cool. So when you go in, you can decide who you want your messages to be sent to. So you can pick, your husband, your best friend, your mom, your sister, whoever. Then you get to customize your message to, for whoever you want to send that message to at that time that you feel like you need help. And that is really special because everyone doesn't know everything about us. So, maybe, I don't know, I don't want to say, maybe you drink too much when you go out and your best friend knows that, and you're out and you've had too much to drink and you need her to pick you up, but you might be embarrassed to tell your parent or someone else or like your mom, but you're an adult, you're 21, you're overage, So you can send that message to whoever to, I'm not okay. And then that person will come and help you. So that's why I love this app, because it's not just for kids. It's for anyone who is in distress or needs help or just needs someone to come to them. So that's what I love about it. So
the kids, when they were thinking about how they wanted the app to sort of the workflow, they created a separate, like when you're initially registering for the app, you can create your own personalized message that'll be sent instead of the, "Hey, I'm not okay, come check up on me." And we actually had some people email us about food allergies, how they changed the message to say, "Hey, you guys are aware of my food allergy, come check up on me." Or, someone who has epilepsy actually emailed us as well and said, "Hey, I changed it to say that I'm an epileptic and you guys are aware that I'm an epileptic. Please, check up on me," that sort of thing.
those are better examples than mine. But I was just thinking of people
No,
who,
that's
you
a
know,
good example as well.
but yeah, you know, like people who go out and, you know, whatever. But yeah, that's awesome too. Like, you know, if you have these episodes or illnesses or anything like that. So it's like an array of things that, you know, this app can, you know, help people with whatever situation they're going through or whatever. Or even if they're depressed or, you know, they're just in a bad way and they feel like they need some company or just someone to be there. So it's an amazing app. I really love it. So guys, the reception to your app, you said that your friends said that it's life changing. Are you getting the same response from people who have just like downloaded the app who you don't know?
Definitely.
Yeah, that is really cool. That's the best thing when you put something out there and people are receptive to it, and then they also tell you how much it's helping them. That has to feel really good to know that you're making a difference.
I think that's my favorite part of it, to hear people's stories.
Mm-hmm.
And now they know that they're not alone, you know? I think that's definitely my favorite part.
Yes, absolutely. So, Hannah, what are your plans for, like, after you finish high school? Do you want to go to college? What do you want to be when you grow up?
That's definitely a good question. I've been asked that a lot recently. I'm definitely considering majoring in poli-sci the more I think about it. I love politics, though, and I always say that you can't point out the faults that you see in the government and the system and the world, I guess, if you're not going to do something to change it. So I think I'm going to try to, you know, change it for when I'm older.
That's great. And Charlie, I know you're still young, but do you have anything in mind in terms of what you want to do when you grow up?
Well, I have a few options. Aerospace physics,
Wow.
or like a singer, or like a programmer, or just continue with this business.
Nice. Options are always good, and you can do a little bit of everything. So that's the good thing. All right, guys. So can you tell everyone where they can find your app? Are you guys on social media? Do you use Facebook or Instagram or anything like that to promote the app?
We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
And what are your handles on those platforms?
It's notOK app.
Okay, it's notOK app, APP, and that's on Twitter, Facebook, and
It's just not okay app. Sorry.
notOK app. All right, so it's notOK app, guys. notOK app, and that's on Twitter, Facebook, and did you say someplace else?
Instagram.
Instagram. Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing with us. Usually I ask my guests about a moment that they've had that made them, you know, maybe not so happy, or, you know, something that happened in their life that they just had to stop in their tracks and say, oh, heck no. I'm going to say, oh, heck no, because you guys are still young, right? So has anything happened, you know, in developing this app where you were like, oh, heck no, I can't believe this is happening. Why? Or it could have been a positive thing where you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. This is so amazing. So Hannah, that's for you first, and then we'll go to you, Charlie. And also, Mom, we'd love to hear your moment.
Okay.
So Hannah?
Well, the first moment came when me and my brother were interviewing developers to develop the app, and the first one that we were really interested with, he seemed to really like the app. Right when we were about to sign with him, he upskilled us, and we're like, oh, heck no. So we kind of out of that.
That's great.
What about a moment early? Oh, God.
A good oh heck no moment was when oh heck yes moment was when Neo sort of said that he liked our app.
Who did?
Neo, the singer.
Oh wow,
the artist. He
nice.
said that he really liked our app and basically endorsed it.
Awesome. That is an oh heck yes moment. And Mom, tell us about your moment.
Oh boy. I think my oh heck no moment was when I've actually had quite a few, but we got an invite. Actually, Hannah got an invite. I'm just sort of the wingman. Hannah got an invite to a really cool conference called the Power Rising Conference, and it was just sort of a random email that was in my email inbox. And it was an amazing conference. But Jennifer Lewis was there, and she's a huge advocate for mental illness and taking care of yourself and self-care and all that. And we were able to meet her afterwards, and Hannah held up her phone and was showing her the app, and Jennifer Lewis says, "Oh yeah, I've seen this around. I really like your app." And Hannah stands there like completely frozen, and she goes, "Oh, really?" And I just sort of took myself out of the situation. I'm like, "Oh, wow, that just happened. That was really cool." Yes. And we've just had little things happen like that. Last week we got an invite, or the kids got an invite to speak at a White House event from the Obama, like they're Obama holdouts. It's not like anything like that. The initiative was an old initiative that was really cool. But they got Hannah and Charlie got invited to speak at this event, and I just thought that was like, wow, my kids are like people are recognizing how amazing I think my kids are, Yeah. And so there's been a lot of those moments.
That's amazing. You must be so proud.
I'm speechless most of the time. Me and my husband, we just sort of sit back and we're like, who are these kids? Like, what happened to Charlie and Hannah? But we're super proud of them. Like I couldn't be any happier. I'm more thankful that we're not where we were last year. We're not dealing with all the doctors. We're not, dealing with Hannah coming home in tears every day, just really depressed and just really emotional, and Charlie feeling completely left out because, life was about Hannah last year because we didn't know what was going on, So, I mean, it was terrifying. So I would take this, where we are right now, I would take this over where we were last year any day.
Absolutely. They took lemons and made lemonade.
Oh yeah, they beat those lemons up and crushed their souls. I mean, we had the best lemonade ever. So I'm proud of them. I am.
That's amazing.
Lemons make a platinum album.
Charlie said, "When life gives you lemons, make a platinum album."
That's right.
I can sing.
That's right. I love that. That's great. That was so amazing, guys. Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure talking to you, and I wish you continued success with your app, your health, and just everything overall in the future.
Thank you. And don't forget to download and subscribe. Remember, it's about the price of a song download.
It's less than the price of a cup of coffee from Starbucks. Those things are expensive.
Yeah, we buy, like makeup apps. We can buy this app. This is important. All right, guys.